off-roads nicely. It's a really comfortable, smooth ride of the CX-5 S Select. What's up, guys? This is Automotive Anonymous, and if you're new to my channel, when I'm not doing physical therapy, I'm doing car reviews, truck reviews, 0 to 60s, and other cool stuff. Today we have another Mazda CX-5. It's a 2023 in Sonic Silver Metallic, and it's an S Select. If you haven't already seen them, I've done the Premium Plus, the Carbon Edition, and the Base Turbo for 2023. Because I like CX-5s. This one, again, generously borrowed by Goody Mazda in Southern Idaho. I'll link it below. They're good people to work with. Check it out if you're interested. Otherwise, we're going to do our walk-around review, go through the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60 with my GPS, and final thoughts to decide, is this CX-5 worth your time and money? And while I have your attention, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. These are really cool. We're in the 2nd gen of the CX-5. It's the 7th year. So it's an aging platform, but that means a lot of it has been refined, the kinks have been worked out, and it's extremely reliable. Mazda sells over 160,000 of these in the United States each year, over 300,000 globally each year, and globally, accumulatively, there's over 3 million of these out there. So that's a good testament to how capable and how well off the CX-5 is. It's a really good vehicle. So the lowest one would start at a little over 26,000. This S Select is closer to 30 grand though after destination, and the options it has, such as heated seats, dual climate controls, and 6-way driver adjustment seat, so you can get pretty comfortable in the CX-5 S Select. It's roughly 5.5 feet tall, 15 feet long right there, and about 6 feet wide. The wheelbase, about 9 feet, so it's pretty average for this class of car. They weigh 3,300 to 3,800 pounds, depending on how it's spec'd. This one has all-wheel drive, but no turbo, so it's kind of in the middle ground of that. 7.6 inches of ground clearance and a 4:62 final drive ratio. So it makes really good use of the power that it does have. I'll show you under the hood though in just a little bit. From that 2.5 SkyactivG engine. We get 24 city, 30 highway. The gas tank's located on the driver's side. So with a 15-gallon tank, you're looking at 450 miles of road tripping, which is probably more than enough before you need to get out and stretch your legs. And because it's a CX-5, it's a top safety pick plus, so you get a lot of good features. You get really bright LED headlights. You get the cameras for all the adaptive cruise control. It doesn't have heads-up display like the higher trim levels I've reviewed, but it does have blind spot monitoring and even rear cross-traffic alert. The wheels look really good. It's a 225/65/17. That means there's a lot of sidewall on that all-terrain tire. But let's get out of the cold and inside the CX-5. The door panel, for being a pretty low trim level, actually looks really good. You still got stitching, really nice soft touch materials. The armrest doesn't look super wide, but it does bellow in, so you can fit pretty well. You have a pretty good grab handle and piano black around the electronic controls. You have an unnamed speaker. It's not the Bose like you would get in the higher trim levels, but it still sounds pretty good with how well designed the cabin is. Nice big bottle holder and some snacks. Nothing on the door sill. The mats are not installed yet, but you do get those. Rubberized pedals, fuel door, hood release. The options that this trim level has right here, and then the lighting stock. 6-way power adjustment seats, and they look really good, and they were very comfortable driving over here. On the higher trim levels, you get really nice heated and even ventilated seats. You get a sunroof. You get a lot of cool stuff, but even these, the bolstering's good, it's comfortable, and a lot of people are gonna like it. Hopping inside and firing it up. The wheel is wrapped really nicely. There are no paddle shifters on the back, but you do get the Mazda gauges, which look really good. And then going through infotainment, you get some good information. Otherwise, audio and voice controls on the left, adaptive cruise on the right. The horn sounds pretty good. And then up here we have the non-touch screen display. It doesn't block your visibility. I really like how Mazda does this. I know it's not as advanced as some of the other screens, although you do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but it's going to be more timeless. It's not going to age as poorly. I'll show you how to control that in just a second. Under the ventilation, we have heated seats on this Select package. We have physical buttons and dual climate controls, which I really like. A 12 volt and some really good rubber lined storage. around the shifters, piano black, slap it over to manual mode, bump it up and down with the 6-speed automatic, or you could go up into sport mode if you want to kind of like downshift, be a little bit more aggressive in the RPMs, and you need to pass or have a little bit more fun with the power. Otherwise, electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, music, home, navigation if you have the card inserted, the back button, whatever you set up with Star, and then the scrolly dial, which the scrolly dial is a pretty cool feature on these. Let me show you the backup camera too. The lines don't move with the car, but the clarity of the screen is at least average for this class. You can also turn off the screen by holding down the power volume button. Otherwise, 2 cup holders, they're deep, they're out of the way, and you got the lifty tray, a couple USBs, another 12 volt, and a decent amount of space down there, and that's where you'd put the memory or the map card if you have one of those. Up top, we have just the standard rear view mirror, no garage door settings or dimming options on that one. Sunglass holder, and then our lighting. But let's turn off the push button start. Let's hop in the back seat and see how we fit. The back door panel, the theme, the materials, they all follow suit with what you saw up front. Decent sized pocket in the back. You could fit a bottle at an angle and a little bit of extra. Kind of a rubber line in the handle. Not too bad. Nothing on the door sill. The seats look really good. Easy to drop with the 60/40 split, or Mazda even lets you drop just the center if you have something long to go down the middle. Sitting behind herself at 5'11", I have roughly an inch of room behind where I'd sit as the driver. I have a map pocket so I can be chauffeured and tell them where to take me. I have ventilation back here, 2 cup holders, but you miss out on the heated seats. So on this trim level, you get a pencil holder and a notepad holder with some USB plugins. So that way you can write about your adventures and your time in the back of the CX-5. Otherwise, it's a pretty good view from back here. Let's go around to the back. There's a couple ways to unlock the hatch. You can either use the remote to unlock everything and get to the button, or there should be the button inside, and it does have the pin code, so you can set that and have access to the car without the keys. It does not auto lift, so we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. But those shocks do help. Roughly 29 cubic feet back here with the seats up. If we drop the seats completely, we would have, we lost it, guys, we lost it. The seat belt's doing too good of a job holding it in. But if the seats were all down, we'd have about 59 cubic feet. So about 5 feet more than a Subaru Crosstrek, but about 20 feet less than a Forester or an Outback with the seats down. And we get the temporary spare tire with some storage on the side and storage under these. So you can hide a lot of goodies down there. Tell me in the comments, what are you hiding? Keep it legal. To the passenger side rear, the tinting is pretty dark from the factory. Door panel looks really good. Another map pocket, so dueling backseat drivers. Maybe you should actually keep this between them so that there's not too much fighting and commotion. And then the other 20/40 split. Cool. We can lock and unlock right there. Door panel looks really good. All you're missing is some of those extra controls that the driver gets to have. And then manual adjustments for the seat. But our backpack staying safe. Reminded of the airbag. And non-locking glove box. But it is actually pretty deep. There's just no plugins or USBs in there. But let's go around to the front. Let's see what the 2.5 SkyactivG looks like and where it resides. Under the hood, the Mazda should look pretty similar to the other ones I've reviewed, or if you're familiar with the layout. It's really well designed. You have induction through the grille to the airbox, through the filter, throttle body, the induction side of the 4-cylinder transversely mounted engine. The exhaust side with all that metal back there is in the back. And then we have the battery positive terminal, negative terminal, brake fluid reservoir, coolant reservoir, windshield washer reservoir, and then the alternator right there on the serpentine belt that's on the passenger side, oil dipstick, 0W20 full synthetic, and SkyactivG, because you're gonna be feeling like a G if you're driving one of these. Let's drop the hood. Time to teleport inside and take it for our initial driving impressions in 0 to 60. Initial driving impressions of this CX-5 is that it feels very similar to the other ones, even though it doesn't have all of the upscale features. It's still a very smooth ride, very comfortable. It handles the road nicely with the 9-foot wheelbase. Visibility is fantastic. I feel like I can see out of it just fine. The D pillar in the back does block visibility just a little bit, but blind spot monitoring and actually really big side mirrors, it's not a problem. Comfort is fantastic in this. My arm fits nicely on the door with how I sit. Same thing with the center console. The console is back a little bit, but it's not too uncomfortable. Everything's where you want it to be. All the controls are easy to get to. Mazda just makes it really easy and limits distractions with things like how the screen is controlled. It doesn't take your focus, and it's not going to age poorly like I think a lot of the other ones do, and you can kind of tell that the tech is out of style, out of date. Cabin quality for the sound is really good. It seems to cut down on wind. We don't have a ton of wind today, but a few mile-per-hour gusts. And then road noise going through the highway and around town a little bit like right now is really not too bad at all. Let's see how we do braking up here. I'll give it maybe half pedal. Enough pedal that you could probably hear the floor mats slide forward in the back of the car where they're still in the bag. But it's kind of a linear pedal. It doesn't have like a really sharp engagement point. It feels good. I strongly recommend you guys go test drive your own if you're considering something like this. I don't really have any reservations in recommending it for you guys, especially where it's a top safety pick plus. Safety is so important. I work with people who are in car accidents, and it's not pretty a lot of the time. Keep that in mind when you're deciding what vehicle is right for you and your family. Let's see how it does from a 40 roll. We will put it in sport mode. You can see a little bit of the RPM jump right there in full throttle. Sounds good. It does feel faster than the speedometer would suggest. You'll see the 0 to 60 in just a little bit. I did one of these in the last couple hours. It's not, magazine record because we're on our private not a dirt road, our private road though, which is not a sticky drag strip, and we are at about 4,000 feet of altitude. So vehicles typically do not get what they're rated at, but this does feel like it has pretty good power. If you drive through the mountains, if you tow, if you have it loaded down, I do think you should consider having the turbo model. I've done a couple videos with turbo Mazdas if you want to check those out. They're substantially quicker, but just normal driving around, even where we're at some altitude, this feels punchy and it feels good. Feels almost as good as it sounds. Mazda's really engineered that engine well. And with almost 8 inches of ground clearance, I feel really good driving around the road. It does feel nimble, it does feel very dynamic, like it can get out of its own way, and it can move around things with, a mid 30-foot full turning circle. It's quite capable. At only 15 feet long, you could park in your garage well in parking spots. It does a whole lot of things well. I do think Mazda heated seats are better than what I'm most familiar with, which are Subarus, but you're losing some of the cargo capacity that a similarly priced, like Forester or something would have. This, although, is more refined and feels more sporty, so if you don't need the max all-weather capability that something like a Forester has, or another Subaru, if you live in the city, if you don't get more than a few inches of snow, absolutely check out this route, this option. It's a really good one. We're almost to our private road though, so let's get to our 0 to 60. 0 to 60, I'm gonna brake rev it. We are in sport mode. Density altitude's 3,000 feet. True altitude is almost 4,000 feet, so this vehicle is down on power about 10%. Keep that in mind. I'll verbalize the true 0 to 60, and then I'll post the GPS graph immediately following. The bottom left shows without the foot of rollout. That's the way magazines rate it without counting that first foot. Let's go. that's automatic brake rev, it launched really hard. True 0-60 came in at 9.29 seconds. If you want to see what the turbos do, check out one of those videos. But in our area, 9.29 true seconds, it's really not too bad for this class of vehicle. Let's get to our final thoughts. Final thoughts of the CX-5 S Select for 2023 is it's a really good vehicle. It handles the road nicely. It's a really comfortable, smooth ride. Even for not having the turbo and some of those additional upscale features, it feels very refined, very capable for what it is. It can handle most environments just fine, and there's a lot of good reasons why literally millions of people have bought these, why millions of people love them or have thought about buying them. Are you going to be one of them? If you like this vehicle, let me know in the comments if you're comparing it to some others. What do you want to see next? What would you prefer instead of the CX-5? And like always, guys, if you like my style, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to help it grow. Until next time, guys, take care.